What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And a story we talked about yesterday, or day before yesterday, and yesterday. The pressure mounting on Stellantis to divest Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram and or make it basically an American brand, kick it out from the European overlords, is gaining traction. And Senator Moreno looks like is going to be tapped by the Trump administration to make it so. That's right, guys. Welcome on back to TK's Garage. I was shocked, when I heard this at first, and then I was doubly more shocked when we did the update video that the incoming administration, Trump administration's transition team, had already had conversations with John Elkin and other members of the board about possibly splitting Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram off and making it American owned. Now, John Elkin is not stupid. He's not going to give up a cash cow in Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. I think what does happen is maybe they do have some American investment and they do split it off so that it's autonomous from Stellantis and is not subject to those European emission rules. But I want to talk about this story I saw over at Car Scoops, and I'll throw it up here on the screen. And it says, Senator-elect pushes Stellantis to return U.S. brands to American ownership. Bernie Moreno says Stellantis has been a terrible steward of the brands and they should be sold and put back in American ownership. Can't say I don't agree there. Newly elected Ohio Senator Moreno calls for U.S. ownership of Stellantis' American assets. He's extremely critical of how Stellantis and its ex-CEO Carlos Tavares handled the U.S. brands. North American sales fell 36% in the third quarter, raising concerns about its future. So, they get into it already. They talk about what's gone on with Stellantis. We've all known the story. You watch this channel. We go step by step through every bad decision Carlos Tavares made before he was gone to now trying to salvage what they can with the brands. But he says, quote, to Bloomberg, they've been a terrible steward of the brands. I'm hoping that John Elkin does the right thing and spins off Chrysler Corporation and puts it back in American ownership. He had a choice few words for now former CEO Carlos Tavares. This guy fired all the Americans. He's been milking this company to death. Moreno also believes Stellantis is going to shift production from the USA to other nations, which I believe is part, his voice with the Trump administration, I think is part of the reason you saw the incoming president say he was going to tariff Stellantis specifically for bringing vehicles in from Mexico. 25%. I think he said Canada and Mexico, right? 25% tariff on everything coming in from there. Stellantis responded by emphasizing its deep American roots and ongoing projects, stating with nearly 100 years of history in the U.S., the iconic brands of Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram are at the heart of Stellantis' strategy. Together with our partners and stakeholders, we will continue building Stellantis as the automotive company of the future. We're proud to employ many thousands of people and support our communities across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. 2025 will be an exciting year with many projects which will benefit from the group's cutting-edge technology and scale. So they talk a little bit about Walter P. Chrysler Jr. in here as well. So Moreno isn't the only one that wants to see Jeep, Chrysler, and Dodge and Ram run by an American company. Earlier this year, great-grandson of Walter P. Chrysler, Frank B. Rhodes Jr., said he wants to create a new Chrysler Corporation comprising of the four brands, with him at its helm. He's already working with investors and workers in hopes of finding a way to bring them back under American control. I think what's going to happen here is the U.S. government may end up forcing Stellantis' hand. by tariffing them to death, they may find that it's just more profitable to sell those brands or meet in the middle and have a compromise. The last thing that I've heard from my sources as of Saturday evening, and you're seeing this Sunday, Saturday evening, is that the transition team, if Stellantis didn't want to sell these brands, right, make the profit, sell the brands, push the debt off with with Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, is split it off and let it be its own autonomous company, which is still owned by Stellantis, but not subject to the European oversight that is going on with Stellantis. Now, I think that is a realistic and viable option, and something that we might see as soon as halfway through the first quarter of 2025. It literally just goes on how painful the tariffs are. There's a reason why Stellantis is looking at moving the engine manufacturing for, the V8s, the Hellcats, and Hellcat engines, Hemis, the like, from Mexico back to the United States. That 25% tariff makes it where they can't really make a ton of money on those vehicles. So yes, they pay more to manufacture them here in the U.S., but they save more money than importing them from Mexico. So I think we're going to see that in rapid order. I think you're going to see trucks move from Mexico to back to Warren and Sterling Heights Assembly. I don't know what they're going to do at Belvedere yet. I know they were talking about a few different things, and I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, do you know what's going to happen with Brampton? Depending on how these tariffs go, Brampton, they've already sold a ton of property around Brampton Assembly in Ontario, Canada. I think they sell the whole plant at this point. I just don't see them retooling that for what? I mean, even if you retool it and you start manufacturing vehicles in 2 years, you still have tariffs on anything that comes out. It doesn't make any sense to make something there. And I know the Canadians are pissed about it, but I get where they're coming from. It's just, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that, and I know people want to be like, man, let the government stay out of it. I understand that, and I get that point. But I'm also optimistic for it, because it's not like the government's meddling, saying, hey, you have to have 100 mile per gallon cars. They're saying, hey, this needs to be back in American hands. Not this Mickey Mouse ass crap that y'all have been doing for the last, 24 months, literally just destroying the brands. Iconic American brands, by the way. I don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.